Even before I start, mashallah, the musharaka from the brothers is beautiful to see. And it's great to see more of the youth actually coming up and participating in these majalis, in these dhikrayat, as it's extremely important. I know the elders, they benefit much from it, but the youngers, the more they can come and participate, it will be amazing, inshallah. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Inshallah, I'll keep the speech short, inshallah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الخلق سيد المرسلين حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين. Assalamu alaikum, my dear respected brothers and sisters, wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I send my condolences to the Imam of our time, Sahib al-Asr wa Zaman, on the anniversary of the martyrdom of Imam Zayn Al-Abidin alayhi salam. Now, when we remember Imam Zayn Al-Abidin alayhi salam, the first thing that comes to our mind was he was the individual or the Imam who was sick during the event of Karbala, Marid Karbala. And usually we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant health for those who have lost their health through this Imam. Now it's very important to understand the stance and the mission that Imam Zayn Al-Abidin alayhi salam actually had. Because if Imam Zayn Al-Abidin alayhi salam did not go forth after the event of Karbala, then the story and the narrative of what occurred on the plains of Karbala could have been turned in the favor of the oppressors. And the true message of Islam would not have continued. It's as easy that the event took place and then they said 1, 2 and 3 happened. Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam went against the Khalifa of the time, and so that we can preserve Islam, we killed him. But no, Imam Zayn Al-Abidin alayhi salam and Sayyidah Zainab salam Allahi alayha alayhi salam, they went forth and they shook the courtyard of Yazid. They shook the courtyard of Yazid. And they explained and they reminded that no matter what you did and what you thought you have achieved, this is not possible. Why? Because we are the Ahlul Bayt alayhum as-salam. We are the ones who have been entrusted the message. So it is not merely something which can be taken when it is pointedly divined by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, we all know that Imam Zayn Al-Abidin alayhi salam was not able to fight on the plains of Karbala. And this was because he was injured. He had an injured leg and he was not in the best of health. And so it was through the divine wisdom of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala he did not fight, and the continuation of the Imam alayhum as-salam was through Imam Zayn Al-Abidin alayhi salam. Now specifically, when we look at the life of Imam Zayn Al-Abidin alayhi salam, there are so many different points and different positions and different viewpoints we can come and we can talk about it. But tonight we just want to briefly speak about what happened when they returned back. The political, social environment was not such that the Imam can freely go out and preach to the people and keep the message of Islam alive. So Imam Zayn Al-Abidin alayhi salam, how did he do this? How did he spread the message and how did he get it across? Number one was as-Sahifa Sajjadiyya. It was through dua and supplication. Through him speaking to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and through the way he worshipped Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he was actually able to get messages across to the Shia, to the believers. So much so that he reformed those that were around the true believers, and he allowed the message of Islam to continue and to thrive and to remain alive. Now there was one other way in which he did this, and this is the punchline. It was through his akhlaq. It was through the way he treated others. It was through his courage, his determination and his strength. And despite having all this, he still understood, and he was the pinnacle of the role model of how we should treat others. If you go from Adam to Khatam, or if you go to any of the Ahl al-Bayt alayhum as-salam, and they say, what is the point of Islam? What is the goal? What is the hadaf? What are we supposed to achieve? None of them are going to say to us, salah. None of them are going to say to us prayers or fasting or even dua. Yes, these are all important, and they are means for us to achieve the ultimate goal. What is this goal? قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ زَكَّاهَا وَقَدْ خَابَ مَنْ دَسَّاهَا. Those who purify themselves are victorious, and those who leave their souls to be polluted are going to be amongst the losers. Now, Imam Zayn Al-Abidin alayhi salam, through his akhlaq, people were attracted to the religion of Islam. And not only Imam Zayn Al-Abidin alayhi salam, even Abu Abdullah Al-Husayn alayhi salam, Imam Ali alayhi salam, Al-Imam Al-Hasan, the Ahl al-Bayt alayhim salam, and all of the prophets. And this is why we are so attracted to the Ahl al-Bayt. Because through their akhlaq, they were able to understand themselves. And because they understood themselves, they understood Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Man arafa nafsah, faqad arafa rabbah. And this is our ultimate mission and our ultimate goal, so that the anniversaries and the remembrance of the Ahl al-Bayt, like tonight, actually remains alive. What does it mean by understanding themselves so that they understand Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? When we understand our shortcomings and we understand what we need to work on and how we need to improve our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how we need to improve our relationship with our parents, with our friends, with our colleagues, how we need to demonstrate and represent Islam when we are not in the masajid. If, like the brother said, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is watching us, then inevitably we have a responsibility. And it doesn't matter what Fulan and Fulan think about us. I say this over and over again. We live in a Western country, but we should not try and fit in to their way of life. Yes, when you live amongst a group of people, you tend to instill some of their ways of life within your life. However, we have the best of role models. We have the best of individuals that can guide us on the right path. And if we truly implement their teachings, and we take this love which is in every single one of our hearts, and we transform it into action. When the beloved Sayyid comes up and he reads the Masa'ib, I'm sure tears will flow down your eyes, but so that these tears actually have an effect, we allow it to motivate us to work. So that we stand and we move and we act, not to fit in with them, but when they see the akhlaq of the Ahl al-Bayt alayhum as-salam and the teachings of the Ahl al-Bayt alayhum as-salam being put into practice, they say, who are these individuals? Who are their role models? Who do they follow? Brothers and sisters, it will be a snowball effect. Unfortunately, we live in a time where it is very easy to go astray. It is very easy to forget. It is very easy to forget who you are and what group you belong to and what responsibility you have, what responsibility I have. But when we understand our worth and we understand who we are and who our role models are, by no means will anyone have an effect on us. When you remember that you have a role model like Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam, and you have a role model like Imam Zayn Al-Abidin alayhi salam, all these trends and all these things that are perceived through social media, you're going to allow it to have an effect on you? Of course not. But when the identity slowly is faded away, and we have this want to be seen for the wrong reasons, and we have this want to be recognized and to fit in to that which displeases Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we lose ourselves. Now this is not just for the young, this can also happen to the old. And this is why we need to stay alert. We need to be aware of our environment. We need to understand that coming to these majalis are so important. However, with a vision, with a goal. I am coming to these majalis to keep the remembrance of the Ahl al-Bayt alayhim as-salam alive, and at the same time I want to hold on to the wasi of Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam, in which he says, represent us with that other than your tongues. Yani when you go out and you leave these places, these masajid, and you leave these Husayniyat, go out and represent us through your actions. I will conclude with this. Brothers and sisters, we have something that is so powerful that even the enemies fear it more than we do. What is this? This is Muharram. Specifically the 10 days of Muharram. Because there's no other time in which such a large amount of individuals come to one place with the same motive. However, this can go two ways. The first way is we come, we gather, we cry, we leave, and there's no effect. Yes, you may get hasanat and thawab of coming to the majalis, of listening to the masa'ib, but then after the 10 days, khalas, everything goes back to normal. However, if we come and we cry, because tears are a form of emotion. Now, when you're emotional, it has an effect on you. So when we cry, yes, and we do latam, but we hear what the scholars are saying and we try and make a change, then the enemies of Islam and the oppressors of the world today, they fear these majalis. But as long as they see that it's not having an effect, it doesn't faze them. Now today we see, what do we see? We see one individual that was martyred. The likes of Al-Shaheed Al-Sayyid Ali Al-Khamenei, rahmatullah alayh. One man, one individual. But millions of people in Iran and in Iraq, you have all seen videos of the way he was greeted when he arrived in Iraq. Why? Not because he was Sayyid Ali Al-Khamenei, no. Because he lived his life through the teachings of the Ahl al-Bayt alayhim as-salam. And because he did so, look at the effect he had. Look at the effect he has. It is not exaggerated if I say his effect is more powerful today than when he was alive. Why? Because the Ahl al-Bayt alayhim as-salam and their teachings, it is eternal. It is not for 10 days. Brothers and sisters, we have the best of role models. Brothers and sisters, we have the instruction manual to succeed in life. But it's up to you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you free will. You can leave these majalis and live a life that no one's going to see you. No one can see you except for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you may perceive to the eye that you're religious and you're lovable and people know you and they understand you. But there's going to come a day where either everybody remembers you for your akhlaq and for your respect, and the way you lived has an effect on your hereafter in a good way and leaves a good effect on the people that you have left behind, or you will just be a memory. Brothers and sisters, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us tawfiq to keep these majalis alive through emotion and action, insha'Allah. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.